Hello everyone, Namaste. This is Luke Elijah. I'm here at the Ame De Lumiere Holistic Center. Okay, and my beautiful and young guest today, right? This beautiful lady here with me is none other than the owner of the center. Her name is Amelia Kang. Right, thank you so much, Amelia, for agreeing to be on this video and agreeing to share with us all that you have to offer. Right, could you start by telling the audience, right, how did you come about creating this center, and how did you end up becoming a light worker and doing this full time?
First of all, thank you very much, Luke Elijah, for offering to do this video. So basically, the center Ame De Lumiere actually means soul of light.
It's a beautiful name, isn't it?
Thank you. So what happened was that I used to do a lot of different businesses, and I was in the business of like flipping them for profit. And but after a while, I got a little bit sort of tired of that because I felt like I needed to have a little bit more challenge. So one of my friends actually suggested that I go to Egypt because he had just come back from this amazing trip, and this trip was actually led by Elizabeth Jensen. So so she's actually of the ISIS mystery school.
Yes.
So anyway, I really wanted to go for the trip because I heard all these amazing things and
the mystic of Egypt.
yes,
the Lure.
yes.
Yeah.
However, in order to even register for the trip, you had to have taken at least one workshop, like the basic level workshop. So at that point in time, actually, I had never, like, I've heard of Reiki, but I've never ever had any like idea about all this spiritual stuff. I have a natural attraction to crystals, but it was very kind of like Chinese, like for feng shui and things like that. But apart from that, I had no experience. But I thought, okay, you know, because it sounded like it was fun and I really want to go to Egypt, so I signed up for a level 1 workshop at the Blue Lotus. So when I went for that workshop, it was an eye-opening experience for me because what happened was I actually saw things that your naked eye can't see.
Yes.
And I thought, of course, like a lot of beginners in this, that I was having like a vivid imagination. But what really surprised me was at the end of the workshop when we had a sharing session, people they were actually describing
similar to you,
similar things that I was seeing, and I didn't say any of this to anyone. So I thought, okay, this is interesting, let's continue further. And I was also very attracted to this this deck of like tarot cards. So anyway, I bought that, and then I went back and I kind of worked with it. I took another few more workshops, and then of course Elizabeth Jensen School is very developed, so they had like CDs, they had like things that you could listen to and meditate to. And so I did all that, and by the time I went to Egypt, I was kind of prepared. So that was, I would say, the start of the real awakening, when my third eye was open and I really began to see and hear and actually feel things. So it was when like all in Egypt was where all like my abilities
fall into place. All your clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance abilities.
So everything opened up. So when I came back, I knew that this was something that I wanted to work with, but I wasn't sure what. So it was only about half a year later, after a workshop with Elizabeth Jensen in Hong Kong, that that the message came so clearly that I had to set up like a center. So the moment I came back, I set it up, and so all in all, my sort of spiritual journey took about a year from when I first started the first workshop to when I set up my center.
That's pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, so that's actually quite a lot. But I've also noticed that in my life, a lot of things has always been accelerated. Yeah. So from the get-go, it was a huge success because I had a lot of clients and everything was through word of mouth. I didn't have a website, I didn't have publicity, I had like literally nothing, and I was just saying to the universe, send me clients, send me people, if you think this is what I'm supposed to do. And then people just came.
Just came. That's amazing. That's a beautiful story. When was this center set up?
So this center, the official opening date was on 11/11/11.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful
So-
day to select.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I think that everything kind of came into
For
place.
the place, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I had kind of like a soft opening a month before that,
Mm.
but everything really came together on 11/11/11.
Yes.
And a lot of my clients from that first, I remember the first opening meditation, they're actually still with me.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
and I've kind of worked with them through actually their journey.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was something that I found quite fulfilling for me. Yeah. But of course, like with every sort of centers, we had sort of ups and downs as well. So for example, sometimes we had like customers whose expectations weren't quite aligned with what it is that we can do. We had also like healers and that whose path later on deviated from us and everything. But I saw it all as part of the flow, you know,
Part of the process,
yeah,
yes.
sometimes people just come and they go, they come and
Yes.
go. And I think we all have to be very grateful that they played a part in my life to teach me certain things, and hopefully I played an equally important part in theirs as well.
Yes, I totally resonated with what you just said. You know, it really all comes into place, and those who come, no matter how long they stay, right? They've already done what they needed to do, and it's time for them to move on. And we just release them to move on, and because in order for the new to come in, the old have to exit as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Could you perhaps share with us some of the things, because you can do many things, right?
Yes.
But could you perhaps share with the audience some of your forte, some of the things that you do best that you can offer to them?
Okay, so so basically what I started doing and what I do now, it has been
It's
a
evolved.
process of your development. So right now what is evolved into is a combination of Chinese and Western metaphysics. So apart from 八字, which is the 4 pillars of destiny, which looks at somebody's birth chart, and feng shui,
Yes.
I also do card reading using oracle cards, and I also work with energy healing. So the energy healing part is a constantly evolving part, because I have a lot of visiting practitioners, and I learn from them, and some of the things that I learned, I try to incorporate it into my healing techniques. So far it has worked really well. So my style is a little bit more free flow, and I believe in customizing, and it helps because I can see sort of people's energies. So whenever I start working on somebody, the first thing I'll do is I open up all the chakras, I open up the energy, I clear away some of the negative energy or stress or tension that's in the energy field, so that I can see clearer. And once I've seen it, I will decide, okay, what's best for this person here. But of course, my style is, I believe that self-healing is the most important, and that all healers are here to help to activate our own self-healing.
Exactly. Yeah. It starts from self-healing, and only external healers or even a crystal or anything external of you is only a facilitator at best, right?
Yes.
Ultimately, is all healing stems from self-healing.
Yes, correct. So so my sessions actually, what I require my clients to do is I will send them an email report at the end of each session.
Yes.
And in this report, there's actually recommendations on what they need to do on a daily basis when they go back.
Yes.
And then there will usually be a recommendation for them to come back. Sometimes it could be 14 days, sometimes a month, or sometimes 3 months for like a
For
review.
follow-up.
Yeah, so depending on what their energies actually need. So this actually I think have worked quite well, because a lot of people have gone back, and because they follow like they conscientiously do the homework, so because of that they actually feel much better. So even people who came to me initially feeling really skeptical, after a while they actually say, hey, it really works, and then they started recommending it to other people. So I've had like clients where they started working with one thing, and then they realized, oh, this really works for them, and they started teaching it to sometimes their children, their spouse, So So I think that this is something that I like to keep within life. So even though like everything else is sort of constantly evolving, but I always keep this like report and the homework part, which I strongly believe helps a lot with my clients. Yeah.
It's fascinating, it's rare to find a practitioner who is equally comfortable with Western and Eastern metaphysics at the same time, and also gives like homework, like you say, some form
Yeah.
of medicine or antidote that you can, after it doesn't just end with the reading, it transcends that. After that, you still need to do a bit of your own, take some action and do a bit of your own work to improve and heal yourself. Right. Your center actually hosts quite a few resident as well as foreign visiting practitioners. Could you perhaps highlight some of them briefly?
Okay, so right now for resident healers, we have Mary. So Mary does lymphatic drainage therapy. So that actually helps with the physical body. But of course, she does energy work as well. So even though technically it's like helping with your detoxification process, yes, but it actually, her energy actually also helps to support that healing process. Then I also have Christina, and Christina does like the Himalayan singing bowls. So she is our latest sound therapist, because Will, who used to work with us, is still a guest therapist, but he is moving over to Bangkok. So we now have Christina. So what Christina does is she has like a lot of Himalayan singing bowls, and for each healing she will actually pick the specific bowls and she would place it around you or on you to help to facilitate your physical, emotional, and also energetic healing process. I also have Terry, and Terry actually does the 4 pillars of destiny. So she looks at things ranging from what your birth chart says about you, some of the strengths and weaknesses, and how you can maybe transcend that. And also she looks at compatibility. Yeah. Apart from this 八字 on compatibility, Christina is actually also introducing a new dynamic reading where she looks at numerology, and using numerology she actually does a compatibility report between, let's say, couples, or you can even look at using it for business partners or anybody that you want to work with or live with or play with. Yeah.
What might be some of the exciting courses that you have lined up for the rest of this year, or the visiting practitioners that might be coming?
Okay, so I think that the most exciting one that's coming up is actually going to be held by Tristan. So Tristan Chen actually comes from Malaysia, and I think most recently you would have seen him as the crystal healer in Paranormal Zone. So he was actually in Paranormal Zone.
What's Paranormal Zone?
Paranormal Zone is this like TV series that talks about all the rituals and like alternative
on local
stuff,
Channel 5.
I'm not sure whether, I think it's a Malaysian production. Okay. So it's actually on cable TV.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so he is recently been featured on that. But he's coming to Singapore in March, and what's gonna happen is he's going to bring his workshop, How to Unleash Your Clairvoyance. So I think this is something that Tristan is very good at, because he's one of the most talented clairvoyants that I've come across so far. And he's very gentle energy and very attentive sort of teaching style actually helps people to learn very quickly. So that I would say is like so far I think the most exciting workshop or course here. The rest of my visiting practitioners will be the next half of the year, so after June. We are planning to have Tom Leader come here. Tom Leader is actually a selenite sword maker, and what he does is he teaches people how to use the selenite sword to open up channels within your body, as well as like your sort of abilities, like your clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance.
Nice. What advice would you give to someone who wants to be a practitioner and wants to join your center or some other holistic center? Let's say if someone were to approach you, what are the criteria before you can accept them as a practitioner under you?
Oh, okay. So I think there's a bit of a difference in that. So first of all, I think in order to sort of work with me,
Yes.
I think the most important thing is the energies have to be aligned, and their energies have to be aligned with the other practitioners in a center as well. Because I've had experiences whereby I was not mindful of that, and then we had like several issues. But right now, actually, the energy of all the healers
Are very harmonious.
Yeah,
Mm.
Mary, Christina, Terry, myself is very harmonious,
Yes.
and we hope to attract people who would have like equally sort of like aligned energies with us. However, generally, I feel that if you want to become like a full-time practitioner, there are a few things that you really have to take note of. So the first thing is that you have to see your method as constantly evolving, and you have to constantly be looking for ways to improve what it is that you want to do. The second thing is, do not be afraid to ask for money, because I think this is one of the things that
It's a huge block for most practitioners.
Yes. And I find that for some practitioners, they swing from one extreme where they're really afraid of asking for money to the other extreme where they try to charge like really exorbitant rates. And they forget that when you want to become a healer, you are really talking about being accessible. So you have to find a
A middle ground.
balance.
Yes.
Yeah. So the balance has to be a price that where you can help the most amount of people, but yet be able to sustain yourself. Because I think that for most healers, the first thing is whenever you're acting for your own highest good, you will also act for the highest good of all.
Of all, yes.
Yes, and you have to be sustainable. So that you can sort of convey that kind of positive energy to all those people who come to you. Otherwise, if you're always like worried about money, or you have like a guilt about collecting money, then this negative energy may sometimes actually be passed on to your clients, or you may start attracting people who kind of like aggravate those tendencies, you see. So I think that it's very important.
Very
that-
important. That's
Yeah.
excellent grounded advice. In fact, it's one of the best advice I've heard on this
Okay.
topic of
Thank you very much.
accepting
Thank you.
energy exchange and abundance. Yeah. So I really do hope that people who are listening to this video take your advice to heart. All right. How can people contact you? Where can they go to find out more?
Okay, so you can go to my website. It's www.amedelumiere, which is spelled AMEDELUMIERE.com.sg. You can also text or WhatsApp us at 97492857, or you can email us at support, that's SUPPORT, at amedelumiere.com.sg. So just a few of those.
I'll be placing these links below this video, so feel free to click. Right, thank you so much, Amelia, for pouring your heart out and exciting us with what's to come for your center. I wish you all the best, and I will hope to have you again as my guest in the future video.
Yes,
All
thank
right,
you
thank
so
you.
much, and
Thank you.
thank you everyone.